Whether you believe in something or not, it has no effect on its existence. I was not looking for anything, but I was being called to something. The gravitational pull of this demand only lightened as I got closer to Haiti. I've always had an inquiring mind, and science taught me to follow the breadcrumbs to understand it. I was old enough to remember leaving Haiti, but there's a lot that I did not yet understand until I got back. Once there, so much made sense. It was a new perspective, not this trope of voodoo being the source of all evil in my life, but part of my heritage. It goes back several generations. My great-grandfather was the last voodoo priest in this lineage because my grandfather didn't want it. He didn't want to turn his life over to having to serve the community and the spirit, the loa. But the spirit was upset, and it tormented the next few generations of our family. This is why my father left Haiti. This is why he disconnected from even Christianity, everything spiritual. And because of this, I was stripped of my ancestral identity. I knew this journey would be important psychologically and emotionally, but I never imagined what would end up happening. After the funeral, my newly found family members suggested we visit Sodo to honor my father's memory and celebrate his rebirth. My chest was already feeling heavy at the burial, but getting to Sodo initiated a familiar yet new feeling. I tried to ignore it as best I could, but once we started walking around, it was inescapable. I started drifting further than the rest of the crowd. A strange vibration consumed my insides. The closer I got to whatever it was, the more discomfort I felt, but I could not stop myself. Somehow, running away from it seemed like it would feel worse. My breath was being sucked out of my lungs, so I stopped in my tracks and I questioned myself, and I wondered if I was losing my mind. I felt fuzzy and disconnected. A veil of silence surrounded me. No sound coming from the crowd. The instruments, the air was still. Even the waterfall sounded frozen. A feeling of solitude soon followed with a chill down my spine. The silence was suddenly broken by drums and the sound of seemingly getting closer with every beat, pulling me towards them. I was no longer in control at this point. I could only compare this to an out-of-body experience. I'm still there, but somehow I was watching myself move and talk to people. Suddenly, I realized this had happened before. It was some kind of suppressed memory that surfaced when I was a child in church, along with that same childlike confusion that I once felt before. I tried squeezing my hands in a desperate attempt to regain control of myself, but I was powerless. Someone or something was driving my body. But from there on, I had no intentions of leaving Haiti. I felt alive. I felt spiritually attached to this land. I finally found my place. I felt like I was home. And it was such a relief. No more fighting, no more struggling. The spirits called to me, and I opened myself up fully.